What's up, Internet? Welcome to the ADT Weekly News Update, your source for all spoken and unspoken truths. Today is April 27th, 2019, and things are getting weird. We're sad to announce our last video editor died over the weekend, which has led to a large change of plans while he's going to be out for a few days, including replacing that dumb, ugly face that we had and we tried to animate from the first video. So we're just going to be doing it live, which should hopefully be a lot less intimidating, if it was intimidating. Oh man, I bet since we are recording using this format, I bet there will be fuck jump cut. I can already see my career skyrocketing. But yeah, you guys aren't here to listen to me complain. Let's talk about some news. Our first story starts all the way back on Monday, April 22nd. It's almost 3 years ago now. And before we even get into this story, can you guess what this story is about? I'll give you exactly 5 seconds. Has it been 5 seconds? If you were screaming Donald Trump at your screen, first of all, number one, you're wrong. Number two, we can't even hear you. It's a contest, so if you were screaming, you just sound crazy. The story is about Robert Downey Jr. and what he thinks about this week's Avengers Endgame. I'm just kidding. It's about Trump. We don't talk about celebrities at this network. We're sorry. Our story starts back on Monday, where the Washington Post, and I know, the Washington Post, oh boy, but they reported, and here's the headline, Trump sues in bid to block congressional subpoena of financial records. So let's just talk about the information just from that headline. Trump sues in bid to block congressional subpoena. That is inherently insane. Last week's video, I stated in one of my whispered delusions that our politicians don't have the cojones to do anything. And then old man Don Jacob Jingleheimer Trump comes out swinging. Like, seriously, can you just imagine anyone who isn't Trump, anyone who isn't the president doing this? If you get a congressional subpoena, a normal person, you have to obey it. You don't fight it. What do you have? What are you going to do? Say, no, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you, Congress. It's just mind-boggling. So in this lawsuit, Trump and his lawyers claim that this is an improper use of subpoena power by congressional Democrats. Let's pull up the full quote from the article here. Here's the snippet. Here's what it reads. Demon rats are using their new control of congressional committees to investigate every aspect of President Trump's personal finances, businesses, and even his family, the filing by Trump claims. Instead of working with the president to pass bipartisan legislation that would actually benefit Americans, House demon rats are singularly obsessed with finding something they can use to damage the president politically. Again, this is strange. Okay, now this statement is extremely hard to believe, and most likely impossible to prove that there is actually some sort of crazy amount of malice going on. I don't think the House Democrats are on the floor trying to find scraps to use to damage the president. They're not crawling around. It's crazy. The president honestly does enough damage to himself with every single tweet, but I'm sure most of you people already know that. The demon rats are essentially just doing their job. What Trump and his lawyers are doing right now, they're playing the role of the victim, which, unless you are overweight with weird hair and a loud mouth, makes you look weak. Trump should stand up to these bullies in Congress. I mean, honestly, if there is some sort of magical built-up amount of malice that he thinks is actually coming his way, he needs to rise up and shout, look into everything. Do it. I don't care. Look into everything. Here's everything. I have such tremendous piles of just things. You'll be looking for years and you'll probably find nothing. Not even with a microscope. Just look into everything. Have fun finding my secret tope room. Who cares? Nothing here is damaging. Like, let all of those who oppose you stay. All payments waived. Your downtown Washington hotel, right? Instead of yelling at them, show them a good time. Like, talk to them instead of, just yelling and tweeting out angry tweets. Show them who you actually really are. Show them who you want people to think you are. Crying and whining all the time about Twitter, calling people names, stuff like that's doing way more damage than you think it is. It is time to sit your enemies down and wine and dine them. President Trump, if you are listening, you probably aren't. You are already the physically bigger man than any of the demon rats in Congress right now. So now you already have the high ground there. It's time for you to be the emotionally bigger man, especially in this situation. Please stop crying. Please stop whining. Show them you are who you say you are. I think that's enough talking about Donald Trump right now. Let's transition to some entertainment news, which should be a little bit more pleasant. Everyone likes entertainment news. So this next news headline comes from the all-powerful, almighty, high-in-the-sky Fox News. The headline reads, Lori Loughlin, Massimo, some name I can't read. You guys can read it. I don't care. Ask court to turn over evidence against them in college admissions scam trial. If you haven't heard, there was a big scandal a few weeks back, and more stuff keeps coming out about this, where a handful of celebrities and other rich white people were scamming colleges in order to get their kids accepted. This scam involved them getting around the normal college acceptance things like admissions exams, interviews, SATs, UMDs, RGBs, and even the most important part of the application, the FAFSA. And all of this was to just get into college. Just to get in, not to pass them, but just to get into college. First of all, if your parents don't have the confidence that you can get into a college, and they actually have to pay and bribe and scam so that you can get into whatever little college you want to get into, you are not college material. Colleges want people who have the potential or are already a contributor to society, someone who's decent. If you are coming into college on a scam, you have no contribution at all. You are not college material. And the fact that you probably are dumb enough to not even understand that is probably the most disturbing thing about this. So these two boneheads, Lori Full House Loughlin and Massimo Target, I'm not going to say that word, are asking to see the evidence that was found against them. So these people, I can attest, I can tell you right now, have a great deal of courage. So much, just fueled by courage. Last week, when most of these accused scammers, a lot of the other celebrities and accused scammers and stuff, they stood up and said, you know what? Yeah, you caught us. We're guilty. We're sorry. We'll take whatever punishment. We did it. We're guilty. But these two and a few choice others are saying no. In the great words of Shaggy Mr. Bombastic, it wasn't me. We didn't do it. We're not guilty. And that is insane. Like come on, guys. You're setting yourselves up for an even bigger hit. You could have just taken the L. You could have said, yeah, I'm guilty. And yeah, you would have gotten a punishment. But you know what? You would have gotten a smaller punishment. But now, because you were like, you know what? We're going to fight this. we're going to fight it. No, we didn't do it. You know what that's going to end up with? Because you don't even know what evidence they have against you, because this is going to end up with you guys in an even bigger hole than if you were to just come out and said, you know what? Yeah, we did it. And that is really what is crazy. You guys were just like, wasn't us. It wasn't us. It wasn't us. I swear. It wasn't us, but everyone else did it. It wasn't us. You guys are definitely entering the absolute obliteration territory. I do find, though, that in their defense of, I swear I didn't do it, what they're saying is they're attempting to go for the, I didn't know I couldn't do that defense. Classic Dave Chappelle, if I've ever seen it. But it's just crazy that I didn't know I couldn't do that. Who does that? These people, obviously. But okay, so let's take a look from a statement from a close source according to this article. It's just taking some time for it to sink in that what she was allegedly doing could have been considered illegal. To her, it wasn't egregious behavior. Was it entitled and perhaps selfish? Perhaps. But she didn't see it as it being a legal violation. And this is all from a close source, whatever the hell that means. I guess when you get rich, you forget that paying your way to the top isn't an acceptable thing, especially if you do it and you get caught. But the guy she gave money to was offering this fantastical, magical seat on a sports team. A sport that her child self-professes that they don't even play. And most likely will never even play. If you can even call it play. It's ridiculous. Again, so much courage, so brave, and these people are just some really dumb motherfuckers. Oh man. Okay. We got to move on. That's enough for entertainment news. Let's get back to the topic of real news. Let's talk about an update to an incredibly popular conspiracy theory. Well, just looking at this headline, based on this headline, this isn't a conspiracy anymore. Yeah, so let's pretend I didn't use the word conspiracy. And from this point on, I won't be using it anymore because the article states something like the conspiracy's over, so it's not a conspiracy. So calling it a conspiracy might be a conspiracy. So let's just not say the word conspiracy. But the headline from Rolling Stone magazine. Really? Well, if they are a reputable news source, I think that we here at ADT News Network is one too. So yeah, the headline from Rolling Stone magazine, official news source, reads, WikiLeaks and Fox News are silent on the debunked Seth Rich conspiracy theory. Like the other headlines we've presented, there's a lot of information in this one. So let's break it down just a little bit. First of all, WikiLeaks isn't saying anything because, as we all know, they took my boy Julian Assange's phone away. I don't know where he is anymore, but he's gone away, and that man holds the key to everything, but he's not going to say anything. But honestly, I don't think he ever said anything to begin with, really. He just kind of played coy every time someone asked about it. He never straight up came out and said anything. And Fox News isn't saying anything because, let's be honest, does Fox News ever really say anything of substance? Ever? Really? At all? Do they? Do they say anything? I don't think so. If you aren't familiar with this Seth Rich investigation, go look it up for yourself. There's a lot of details, and unfortunately we don't have enough time here on the weekly news update to actually go over them. But you can do your own research. So the short of it is, there was a guy named Seth, and he happened to work for the DNC or somebody really close to the DNC, whatever, and he was murdered while walking one night. And that's the story. That's it. Murder happens, but that simple event spiked a series of thoughts and theories that said Seth was the guy, the source, the person giving WikiLeaks all of the DNC emails. And because of that, Boogie Lady Hillary Clinton killed him. Crazy. There is a lot more to it than that, but the rest of the details are filled with such delusion that if you start reading it, you immediately turn into Michael Scott. Even just thinking about it right now is making me feel like I'm a paper sale. And now the Mueller report, released last week, has officially explained how Seth was not responsible for this at all. 100% exoneration. Check out our first video on the subject. The video is awful. Good luck. Let's take a look at what the Rolling Stone article states. According to Mueller's report, Rich had nothing to do with the hack and dump operation that illegally accessed the DNC's networks and the personal email accounts of Clinton campaign employees, including Chairman John Podesta. The report documents in meticulous detail how Russian intelligence service units 26165 and 74455 employed sophisticated malware technology and rented computers located all over the world, including here in the US, to extract huge amounts of stolen data, including opposition research, strategy memos, and fundraising documents. They also use so-called spear phishing techniques to steal tens of thousands of private emails from staffers for the Democratic Party and the Clinton campaign. The Russians initially created two phony identities, DC Leaks and the one and only Guccifer 2.0, to disseminate their hacked materials before eventually, at WikiLeaks' urging, giving them to Assange's outfit. And there it is. It wasn't Seth. It wasn't him. While there is nothing on who actually murdered Seth, the theory that he was murdered for leaking things to WikiLeaks is closed. It's all right there in the Mueller report. All you have to do is read it. We're not going to read it, so you can do that on your own. But based on what Rolling Stone is saying, it is the truth. It's there. It's in the Mueller report. It's just there. And that is great. That is the real information, honestly, the real news to be taken away out of that article. The rest of that article is honestly just BS. It just goes on to say and scream and shout about how Fox News isn't updating their stories about it, which probably isn't an issue. Actually, thinking about it, it's I don't think it is an issue, because there's really nothing saying that news networks are actually responsible for telling the truth. At least there's nothing that I can find. So they can really do whatever they want. Technically, they could start a subscription service, say $5 a month, to sell you truths. Say it's a subscription service and it just cleans up all the quote-unquote half-truths in all their articles, and replaces it with actual news, actual facts, which actually sounds like a great idea. So news networks, CNN, Fox News, Rolling Stone, there you go. Take that idea, take it, run with it, see how it goes for you. New revenue streams. Good stuff, me. Good stuff. So, moving on. Our final update for this week comes from the very specific News Week. Their headline reads, Donald Trump thinks he's a dictator, CNN guest claims as IRS misses president's tax return deadline. For starters, who was that CNN guest that said that? Well, it was none other than David K. Johnston. Don't know that name? We honestly didn't either. So after we did a quick Google search and we thoroughly read and reread the first sentence on his Wikipedia page, we determined that honestly he's just some guy they could have picked up from a subway. Just some guy. He doesn't really do all that much. According to his Facebook, he's a renowned reporter, but I don't think so. And now he's going viral and becoming famous for claiming that Donald Trump thinks he is a dictator. Now, do we honestly believe that Donald Trump even knows what a dictator is? Maybe he can't even spell it. Honestly, I'll leave this one up to your imagination. It's a very varied opinion, so you can think about it. And I know the article goes on to talk about Trump's tax information and the IRS refusing to cooperate. Whatever. That's not important. Taxes are too hard to understand anyways. Trump definitely doesn't understand them. So honestly, there's nothing useful here. Taxes, blah, blah, blah. What is important is calling our president a dictator, even through some kind of subversive means. Calling him a dictator without actually calling him a dictator. So, look. Currently, Donald Trump is our president. It's a fact. He's the leader of our country right now. And whether or not he's acting like a dictator, or especially in historical terms, like all the other previous dictators, if he's acting like past dictators, right now, he isn't one. He may be acting like one, but he isn't one. But every single time somebody, some liberal, some guest, some anybody, you, me, anyone, every single time he gets called one or saying, oh, Donald Trump's being a dictator. He's being a dictator. He's doing dictator things. That's literally giving him another notch closer to actually accepting that mantle. It's a step forward for him. And honestly, at this point, it's happening so much that it's becoming kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we don't want to will a dictator out of Donald Trump. We don't want to create one. And every time we call him it just feeds that part of his mentality, and it again, it's that one step closer every single time. So I understand. Even with all of the hatred against Trump, yeah, he's doing things that you may or may not agree with, and whether you hate him, whether you love him, whatever. Calling him a dictator is extremely, extremely dangerous, in my opinion. And it has to stop. It's going to lead to bad things, and it has to stop. Who's ever editing this? Can we get a clip of that one filthy Frank gif with the giant clock and yelling it's time to stop on the screen to really drive this point home? That would be great. Ooh, thank you. And that is going to wrap up this week's issue of ADT Weekly News Update. I honestly hope you learned something, and if you didn't, that's all right too. Honestly, I'm not here to educate you. It's just news. We don't really care. Doesn't matter. But that's all for this week. I've been your host, and I will see you next week. When is the right time to tell people to like, comment, and subscribe? At 100 videos? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay then. Yeah. I won't tell people to like, comment, and subscribe until we hit that many. Got it.